two-time national champ, Grant Jordan, joining us on the show. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Sure.
Thanks so much for joining me.
Good.
Man.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, you got it, man. So you're a two-time national champ. I saw it on your Instagram. I mean, two-time national champion. How does that feel? We'll get into the specifics in a second, but you put two-time national champ in your IG bio. Like, yeah, that's legit, man.
You gotta throw it in there, gotta let the people know. Pretty great, Just make it to the end every year.
Hell yeah, man. Well, let's go back to
I feel like when you're playing baseball as a team.
No doubt about it. Take me through your start. Obviously winning the national championship with Pasco-Hernando this year after UT last year. Just take us through your start as a kid growing up here in the Tampa Bay area, playing ball, going to school, going to Jesuit. Just take me through your playing days, what your focus was as you got closer to playing for Miguel Menendez and one of the great high school programs here in the country.
Yeah, so originally I'm from St. Pete, and going into Jesuit to high school is kind of my entrance into the Tampa community. And I like to say I'm kind of a Tampian right now. We really fell in love with the city. But I guess going into Jesuit, the main goal there, my mom, her idea of sending me there was just playing a good baseball team, And just Coach Menendez, I think from day one, he saw a lot in me that I never even knew. Because I was always just a kid that I was just playing baseball, I was just playing baseball because I liked it. It was kind of getting into that like junior, senior year where I realized that I'm good, I realized that like there's something more to this, and that you can grind and become better and better every day. And that's kind of what Jesuit instilled in me, just gave me that confidence and kind of showed me who I was. And it really helped just facing all that good talent that Tampa has, and the baseball community that Tampa has really just brought me in. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Nick Rodriguez a couple of weeks ago, and he had such a great year this year. And then talking to your buddy Trip Russo, and Trip is such a great kid, comes from a great family, and one thing that always sticks out to me is that just the close knit group of the Jesuit Tigers, right? And some people there's going to be people that hate on you because of all the success over the years and the state championships and the future major leaguers. But what is it about that brotherhood? What is it about that camaraderie that you guys have, that the bonds, they're strong when you're playing, but it seems like those bonds stay strong even after your playing career?
Yeah, I will say first, like every state championship, national championship team I've played on, the one key factor is everyone's close on a team. It's kind of hard to win when you're on a selfish squad and everyone just wants to do good for their own. You got to have a real tight knit group. And Jesuit the baseline of Jesuit is the brotherhood. Going to class every day with your boys. You have no distractions. It's just you and the guys. You go out into the field, you can just shoot the crap, just talk whatever. There's nothing really holding you back. There's no women distracting you. So you're kind of, I wouldn't say forced, but more encouraged that like you're just coming together as a whole.
Yeah, it's a great point. And for me, like I always said that I could never go to Jesuit, and they're like, why? And I was like, because I needed that distraction. I needed the beautiful women in high school. So you guys are a lot stronger than I am, buddy. I wouldn't have been able to go to Jesuit. But to be able to play with all that talent, tell me a little bit more about that, about Miguel believing in you, because there's a lot of good players there, man. There's a lot of guys that sit. There's a lot of guys that really don't get an opportunity to play till their senior year. And even, they do get to the senior year, they may just be a part-time player. But what are some of those things specifically that Miguel saw in you that really kind of helped you get prepared for the next level?
Yeah, so when I realized that he kind of saw something in me, it was my junior year. The first couple of weeks of it, I was hurt and I just wasn't playing, and I was kind of worried, like, am I going to have a spot, or how's that working, or all the factors that play into that. And when I became healthy, I got this starting job, and I kind of rolled with it. He gave me a good little leash to get back into the comfortability of that. And then that was when I kind of realized that like he was more of like somewhat of a father figure to me. He always just believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. And that's really what you need, especially as a what you need as a young high school kid. You need your coach to believe in you, especially in baseball. You know, it's one of those sports where if you lose the mental, you lose everything.
Yeah,
And so
that's a
he kind
great
of
point.
just he has all the talent in the world, has all the talent in the world. His job is really just to obviously keep developing everybody, but also at the same time keep everyone head on their shoulders.
Yeah, I love that, and that's what
And that's
makes
when
me.
you really grow.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's what makes Miguel so good. And he's such a great guy, great dad, great husband, and just he's in a position to where they compete every single year there at Jesuit. So take us through kind of the next step of like, all right, now you have a good career at Jesuit, and then you look at it, it's like, all right, now where am I playing ball at the next level? Take us through that thought process, and what are some of the conversations that you have with coach, with some other coaches, and with your family as you get ready to embark on that next step of your journey?
Yeah, so I think I was going into my senior year. I didn't really have much. I saw that the Nick Rod clip where he was talking. He didn't really have much going. I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of in that same boat where I knew I was good enough to play at the next level, but I just wasn't under the spotlight of summer ball, because that summer ball is the real big thing for baseball.
Right.
It's very tough for high school to get picked up out there. But Jesuit got me to UT, and I'm forever grateful for that. Even though I didn't play that much, I didn't have a great year. It was a lot. It was a big turning point in my career where I kind of learned how to grind there. So even though I could always say I wish I went JUCO my first year, I wish
Mm-hmm.
I wish I did things differently. I'm always grateful for that year I had at UT, and just learning from all the older guys there, and just that's where I really like, when you're down in the dumps, that's when you really find out who you are as a person. Because only way out is up.
You got that right, man. I love that mindset. I love that thought process, and being with the, talking to Coach Joe and talking to some of the players, and some of the guys that I was talking to over the last couple of days didn't play a whole ton. They didn't pitch a lot. They didn't play, but my guy Danny Gutcher that I've known since he was 5 years old, he didn't play a ton last year. As the year went on, where Santi was playing so well, and Danny had some good moments where he hit a bunch of home
Yeah.
runs last year, and just that's the great thing is I think in a part of any kind of successful team or any kind of successful business, like everybody has to play their role. And sometimes your role may be a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit bigger, but now translating into a situation where you go to Pasco-Hernando and you're a member of the Bobcats, and you're hitting a grand slam in the World Series and things like that. What was that like going there to PHSC, playing for Coach Coleman? And did you know that you were going to start? Did you know that you were going to be a big part of the team? Like, what was your thought process going in, and how did your game and your mental evolve over the season?
Yeah, so I will say leaving Tampa was kind of one of the hardest decisions I've had to make up until this point. You're leaving such a great institution. Coming from Jesuit to Tampa, you're kind of set
Mhm.
up afterwards if you stay in the area. And it was a big, big thing I had to pray about and just think about. And I was like, you know what? If I really want to do this baseball and give it my all, I don't want to have any regrets. So my friend Clay Thompson, who's actually went to Jesuit with me,
Mhm.
he got me to go to Pasco. And in the fall, I worked my tail off, I would say that. But, baseball's that sport where there's ups and downs. And Landon Coleman's one of those guys where he kind of gets to you mentally, but it's all for the better good.
Mhm.
I know a lot of guys kind of take what he's saying to heart and kind of push him away. And that's when if you can't survive him, then you're not going to survive the game of baseball. That's
Right.
how it is. I remember in my exit meeting in the fall, he was like, Grant, you have a chance to be a stud or you have a chance to sit the bench. It's just between your ears, but it's up in your head. I was like, you know what? You're right. And I took that winter, grinded a little bit,
What
grinded a
was
lot,
it,
actually.
Grant? What was it? What when he says it's between your ears? Was it a lack of focus? Was it a lack of work ethic? Was it just what was it? Because people say between the ears, and obviously you had all the God given the physical tools. What was it specifically between the ears that you had to adjust?
Yeah, it was just kind of, when I was at UT, it was the first thing, a failure I was dealing with. And I was still I was trying to get to where I was in high school. I lost that confidence. I lost that in
Mhm.
myself. I was still gaining it back in the fall. I was still losing it. I wasn't very secure in my ability. I was just still looking for that swing.
Mhm.
And you can't, baseball's one of those games, as I said before, that if you start doubting yourself, and you can doubt yourself pretty quick. You
Yeah.
go 0 for 1, and then if you let it get to your head, you're going 0 for 2, 0 for 3, 0 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just kind of one of those things where you can't really care. You can't really care about only thing you can care about is the preparation you do before the game. When you get into the game, you just give it to God and just hope the best happens. You did all you can to prepare yourself for that moment. And that's what I kind of really learned at Pasco.
And then when you came back after the fall, what was that? Was there a switch that flipped? When did you know, like, when did coach give you that opportunity? Like, was there a moment where he was like, hey, there you go. That's what I wanted to see. Because man, to be able to go from a guy that, was on the teeter totter, didn't really know, to a guy that was a big time contributor to the championship. How did that start? How did that change throughout the season?
So beginning of the year, I was kind of the fourth infielder.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of just playing twice a week. Me and another guy were playing twice a week, switching off playing time. And I remember we were playing at State College of Florida. And LC talked to me. He was like, you know what, Grant? I was the fifth outfielder. And when he was at Barry, he was like, other guy got hurt. I started doing good. Other things happened, and then I became the starter. I kind of think back about that now, kind of like it was kind of a precursor somewhat to my story. And it wasn't until like 3 or 4 weeks in that I was a starting player. And I remember LC called me and goes, Grant, can you play short? And I was just like, you know what? I mean, I've played third base my whole life. I'll give it a go, I was like, just a kid's game.
Yeah.
If I can do it, I'll do it. And if I can't, then you just gotta find another place for me. And luckily I did it pretty well. And I earned my starting role on the squad.
Man, that's such a great story. So now let's fast forward and let's go to the championship. And, you come up big, you hit you guys are down. It looks bleak. And then boom, 2 freaking grand slams in the same inning. What was it like? And coach said guys were like hyperventilating. They were like vomiting. They were puking. They were just, the emotions were crazy. I was in North Carolina this past weekend with UT, bro. And I think I'm finally now, like, my nerves are finally settling. What was that like to be a part of? It's one thing to win, but to have a comeback victory, to have it so dramatic like that, it's hard enough to watch as a fan, as a friend, as a family member. But what is it like to be a part of that?
Yeah, if I had one word, I would just say special. I remember going into that. It was 7th inning. They had a really big inning. We're down 7-3. It's kind of one of those things. It's like you can't give up now. You made it this far. You can't just lay down and let them roll over you. And I remember that inning started off. We got bases loaded. There's a guy on first and second, and Clay Thompson, he was right next to me. I was like, you know what, Clay, it might have to be me. And then, I went up to bat. I had this feeling that I was going to do it. I was going to be the guy. And then the rest kind of took place. I remember getting back to that dugout. I kind of blacked out, when you that big of a moment, you kind of just you don't know what's going on. Just emotions take over. I remember running that dugout and I almost had to throw up just from just pure emotion, just raw excitement. And then our boy Brandon Durfee went to Land O'Lakes. He comes up big and kind of seals the deal. He was actually my roommate too in the hotel. It's kind of a little
bro, Grand Slam hotel roomies, bro. 8 RBIs between the two of you in the game. My God, that's amazing, man. And listen, so much baseball, so much great baseball here in the Tampa Bay area, and you guys certainly made us proud, winning the national championship, man. And it was great to talk to Coach Coleman a couple of weeks ago. And so now what's next, Grant? Obviously, you've had such a unique life, my friend, and you still got your whole life ahead of you. What's next for you on the field, off the field? What's going on this summer? Give me a day in the life of Grant Jordan as we go forward.
Yeah, so right now I just moved into my summer ball host family. I'm up in Leesburg, Orlando. So
nice.
I'll be playing tonight, actually. Kind of just continuing the grind, I didn't really have Lyndon Coleman, he was like, Grant, you're going to just have to play summer ball, you don't have that many stats from freshman year, so you're going to have to build up that resume more. So that's what I'm doing here, hopefully just keep balling out. Got a couple of schools reaching out here and there, and just Lyndon Coleman's a guy who has a lot of connections. So hoping in my ability to do good and his ability to put me on the right spot.
Yeah, that's so unique too, because we look at the lack of commitment these days, and the lack of loyalty when it comes to, the NIL and the transfer portal and things like that. But Coach LC is very, very honest about, hey, this is a JUCO school. I'm really trying to get guys, and he does a lot when you guys are there, but he's also understanding that he's trying to help you get to that next level. How is that? How is that communication with him? Because, and the one thing I like about him, and I think it goes into when he told you, hey, you gotta pick it up, or you're gonna sit the bench. He's a very honest guy, and he's very blunt. And I love people like that, because, and you're gonna learn this too, Grant, as you get older. You're going to like a lot more people that may give it to you the truth. And it's like, yeah, maybe it was a little rough around the edges, rather than the guy that's like, Grant, you're the greatest baseball player I've ever seen. And then he walks around the corner and is like, Grant Jordan sucks. Like, you don't want anything to do with those people. I love that Coach shoots it straight. So how is that, when you're obviously grateful for everything that he's done for you, but he's also looking to kind of push you on to that next level?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I would say he saved my career, because again, he just got me in that mental spot where you can't care really, you know. And he's a guy that he's probably made some players kind of quit, but it's because they weren't mentally prepared. And if you can't make
they
it
didn't want
past,
to do it.
if you can't make it past there, you're not gonna. There's no point. You're not gonna make it at the next level. You know, even when our team, he said we're the worst team in Pasco history. We're the first team to win a national championship. You know, he kind of always keeps our head on our shoulders. You know, even when we're doing good, he's not going to let us know. But when you're doing bad, he'll let you know. But it's all in good spirits. You know, you can't really take it to heart,
Right.
or else then your performance obviously is going to go down. And I think what Pasco has, it's really great. It's very young coaching staff, so it's very fun. You can build that. You can build like a true connection. Your coach isn't like 60 years old, and you can become friends, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a great point too.
Camaraderie.
It's funny that you say that, because I think JD Urso said something similar to that about the UT team this year, and now you guys are both national champions. That's so funny how that works out. But yeah, you're right about Coach, right? So I think with him, being that you guys aren't there for that long, like you don't have 4 years to build that trust. He's got to be very honest with you guys. Very honest with you guys very early on. And if that makes you feel bad and you get upset, like, you're not cut out for this. Baseball is a game of failure. And if you can't deal with somebody telling you the truth, even if it hurts your little feelings, like, you're probably not cut out for this anyway. So I'm on board with that all the way. Grant Jordan, 2-time national champ, UT, also with our friends at Pasco-Hernando. He's a Spartan. He's a Bobcat. He's a St. Pete Tampanian. He's all over. It's Tampa Bay. He's a 2-time national champ. Grant, thank you so much for your time today, man. Continue success. Kick some ass tonight. Keep in touch, my friend, and congratulations again. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it.